So, as the Online Safety Act started in the UK July 25th, starts snowballing into other countries, similar laws are popping out in the States, in Australia, in some places in Europe as well, besides the UK. Of course, the UK is the worst offender, and even though Elon Musk might be criticizing it, it's still something that he has to comply with. Otherwise, he'll be risking over £18 million in penalties. So I think most companies, you've got Reddit already. Discord has also started rolling out age and ID checks, and this is all being handled by Ofcom. So they essentially gave Ofcom the power to scan your messages before they even leave your phone, which is something straight out of Minority Reports. And this isn't hypothetical, this is now reality. We're basically at this point witnessing the surveillance of the internet as we know it. You will be identified if you're posting anything on Reddit, anything on Discord, anything on X, and more platforms will be forced into adopting this. So the way you can avoid this is, by changing your location. So if you happen to be forced into what's called age assurance on X and you want to avoid that, what you can do is use a VPN. And it's not just by using a VPN. You might have to change the country on your X as well. So let me just go to x.com, and once you go to X, you want to go to settings and privacy, go to account information, and from there you'll be able to change your country. And of course, before going there to change your country, make sure you're connected to a country where none of these laws apply. So if you're in the UK, you want to connect to maybe the Netherlands or somewhere else. So that's basically it. If previously, of course, using a VPN was, optional in a lot of cases, maybe before the Online Safety Act, you could say that most people would use VPNs to avoid censorship in China or Turkey or other countries that prevent you from accessing the internet in full. Maybe you use it to access shows that are not available in your country, or maybe you're just protecting yourself while you're on public Wi-Fi using a VPN. But at this point, you have to use a VPN in order to avoid being ID'd on the internet. Imagine if you go to the grocery shop and you have to not only show them your ID, but also give them a copy of it alongside a facial scan. So this is basically the equivalent of that on the internet, except that everything is also archived. Whatever you do, whatever you say, there's no more privacy. Everything is being monitored. The destruction of end-to-end encryption and building backdoors that the government can access. So if you don't want to comply with that, this is where a VPN comes in really handy. So I like to use Express. There are a bunch of other VPNs out there. I know a lot of you guys might be looking for free options. So Proton VPN is also a great option. This is the paid version of Proton VPN. The free version will give you access to 3 countries, and it won't have a data cap, so you can use it as much as you'd like, totally for free. But of course, the servers will be free and quite a bit congested because everybody is using Proton VPN's free servers, and they're going to be limited as far as speed. So if you don't want to go through some buffering or painfully slow speeds, you can just get yourself a subscription, and there are a bunch of options. Of course, it's not just, you don't have to stick to Proton, even though Proton is a really good VPN. I totally recommend it. I personally like to use ExpressVPN. And speaking of Express, I do have to renew my subscription, and if you do end up getting yourself a subscription, I'll also put some links below that'll save you a little bit more on your subscription. It's basically the same link that I'm going to use to renew my subscription in a little bit. It gives me a few extra free months. There's also NordVPN, there's also Surfshark, and they're all very safe VPNs. I'll link a bunch of reviews in the description as well if you want to look into the VPNs before you make the commitment. But these are the VPNs that will definitely do the job in order to avoid the ID check of Twitter, of Reddit, of Spotify, and any other chat platform like Discord, for example. This is how you can do it. Just connect to a country where none of that stuff exists. And once you're connected, you can just go to your IP finder and it'll confirm to you that you're actually in the country that you've connected to. And then you can go about your business without doing the ID check. But again, remember, in the case of X here, you might have to go to the account information and change the country from there as well. And before you go to change your country from the account information, just make sure that you're connected to that server that you're going to change your country to. For example, here, if I'm connected to the Netherlands, I would go to account information and change the country to Netherlands. So just make sure you do that. Anyways, I'll keep everything in the description down below if you guys are interested in any of the VPNs that I mentioned. And thank you so much for watching, and stay safe out there.